Hey everybody, it's Caroline Adams Miller here. I'm the author of a number of books, including Getting Grit and Creating Your Best Life. And I'm going to do a 30-minute Facebook Live event right now as promised, because I really feel it's important now more than ever for women to come together to learn how to set, pursue, and achieve their most meaningful goals. I want to talk about the 5 reasons why I think women don't do this very often and why it's imperative. I just want to start with the fact that I'm delighted that Kripalu asked me to do this. It's the 2nd time I've done it. And about 20 years ago, a little backstory, I went to Kripalu with one of my best friends, and that was before they started to serve coffee in the morning. So I snuck into Stockbridge, which is just beautiful, to get coffee. Now they serve coffee, but Kripalu is this magical, magical place. If you've never been there, it is so worth going. It's in the Berkshire Mountains, and this year I was given this wonderful spot, April 26th to the 28th. It's not a lot of money to come. It's about $325 for the whole weekend, and I'm just so honored, because I remember saying to my friend, one day I want to come back and present here, and maybe one day be featured in the catalog, not because it would be famous or anything, but it would mean I had something to share that was of value. So that has all come true, and I'm just so honored to be going back to Kripalu. So reason number 1, this is not even part of my 5, but if you haven't been to Kripalu, you really should come. It's 24 hours a day yoga. If you don't want to attend an event, you just go do yoga. It's just beautiful. The food is healthy, organic. I mean, I just can't get over how great it is. And I've presented in a number of programs there, and been part of Tal Ben-Shahar's Whole Being Institute there. So I'm just thrilled to be coming back solo to just do this Creating Your Best Life weekend for women. And so I'll be bringing a lifetime of my work. I've been focusing on goal setting and grit for a very long time. That's the topic of my last few books. That's what I speak around the world, teach at the Wharton Executive Education Center, and work with clients on, is how do you set the right goals using the science of goal setting theory to help you do it the right way. Because one of the things that I'm so struck by as I go around and I teach and I talk about this is everybody sets goals, every company sets goals, but I would say close to nobody knows goal setting theory. And that's been the stunner for me. And it was stunning for me to even learn it in the fall of 2005 when I went back to the University of Pennsylvania for my Master's of Applied Positive Psychology degree, because we were assigned Locke and Latham's goal setting theory. And as an executive coach and somebody who was working to help people set goals and manage progress and accountability, I thought SMART goals was goal setting theory. I thought that was all you needed to know. And the surprise to me was that Locke and Latham's research in goal setting theory is so well validated, so well researched, hundreds of studies supporting its validity, that if you're setting goals, you really better know goal setting theory. So I changed my website, I changed my work, I made sure that I was thoroughly kind of invested in understanding this. So anyway, so that's been at the basis of my teaching, and I still think, despite at least over a decade of talking about this to audiences around the world, very few people know it, and yet it's the basis of knowing how to set, pursue, and accomplish your goals with the maximum amount of success. So why now? Why am I focusing on women? What's wrong with men? Nothing's wrong with men. But I think it's never been important for women to really focus on flourishing. Just last week, there was a report showing the United States has slipped another notch downwards in terms of world happiness rankings. And it's just so interesting to me that despite my field of positive psychology being so popular and so many people studying it and getting masters and even PhDs in it, the United States is getting more and more unhappy. And some of what it's being traced to is an inability to actually find meaning in what you're doing, to feel proud of yourself, to have self-confidence and self-esteem. And in all of this research I did on grit for the book Getting Grit, what I know is that when people actually go outside of their comfort zone and do hard things, they become happier. The happiest people do wake up to hard goals every day. And that's a piece of what I really want to share with women in particular, because not only is the country generally more unhappy, women are particularly unhappy. We're facing this unusual epidemic right now in the world where middle-aged women are dying younger than previous generations from what we call diseases of despair. So what are diseases of despair? It's things like alcoholism, depression, suicide, opioid abuse, eating disorders. It's just a staggering set of studies coming out of the Centers for Disease Control and elsewhere showing that women in particular are really suffering. And so as I looked at all of those figures and began to kind of study, well, what happens? You know, women get interrupted more than men do, even at the Supreme Court level. We still don't have any kind of equity in terms of our pay, at least in the United States. We're the only westernized country not to have childcare. I could go on, subsidized childcare. I could go on and on and on. But the point is that women are really suffering, and the World Economic Forum actually came out last year and showed that women aren't just stalled in terms of progress and happiness. We're actually going backwards and have been going backwards since 2008. So that got my attention. I decided with whatever time I have left, with whatever platform I've created from my first book, Creating Your My Name is Caroline, which came out in 1988 and chronicled my recovery from bulimia, really the first time anyone went public and said, I got better and I think you can too. Ever since that first book, I created a platform where I help people to have hope that they can do hard things. And I've steadily kind of built my toolbox to include the science of goal setting, the science of grit, and a lot of other motivational theories and things that really make a difference. So whatever time I have left, whatever platform I have, I feel it is my duty to turn around and give back to as many people as possible, but women in particular, because we're at this important inflection point in history where I really do think this is our time to step forward. It's our time to claim power, and it's our time to understand what are the tools that are out there that can help us become our best selves. Because I think sometimes women do themselves in unconsciously, and I want to talk about that a little bit, not just today, but in some depth in the weekend. So that's why now. And I also don't think that women can depend just upon passion for change. I don't think passion creates lasting change. I think you have to have far more than passion. I think you have to have organization and understanding of your strengths and a lot of strategy, proven strategy. And what we're finding in the research around relationships and well-being, et cetera, is that women do things differently from men. We can't just copy men in order to be successful. Just last week, there was a study showing that women can't network just like men. The most successful women actually network with other women. And therein lies this important thing called the Disney rule. And let me just say something about the Disney rule before I get into the 5 reasons why this is absolutely the only place any woman should be. And by the way, we have social work credits. And I think if you come for the weekend, you can also apply using the content to the International Coach Federation to get continuing education. But you should be there anyway. But the Disney rule, what is the Disney rule? Well, this blew me away because for several years, actually many years, if not my entire life, I've noticed that women just kneecap other women, personally and professionally. And it's kind of explained away as, you know, mean girls, or this is just the way it is. And I don't think it has to be like this. So I think the problem is well known. The problem is established. You know, the tall poppy syndrome, where we cut off the heads of the tallest poppies, you know, the people who dare to stand out, the people who dare to succeed, the people who dare to be proud of themselves. We know that women, more than men, experience blowback in particular. In a work setting, we know that women don't always lack confidence. That's not really the problem. The problem is that women know that if they dare to be successful, if they dare to, you know, voice their pride or their accomplishments, that they will be cut down, they'll be shamed, they'll be silenced. And one of the most potent, cruel ways that other people do this is they go silent in the face of that person's accomplishments. It is one of the oldest, well-known ways to throw someone out of a tribe, you know, to create an outcast, is you go silent. And so it's not just about being cruel and demeaning, it's also about going silent. And so women face this more than men. So what is the Disney rule? The Disney rule, I ran into this in the Wall Street Journal a few months ago, and I just couldn't believe my eyes because it explains so much of the priming that's been going on for many girls and women all their lives, where there's this belief, whether it's true or not, that you can't have more than one sparkling, accomplished woman in a setting. You can't have more than one, can't be two. And so what's the Disney rule? The Disney rule is unstated but well known within Disney, that if you are drawing a princess, or you're drawing Cinderella, or so, you know, some special beautiful woman within the Disney kind of set of characters, you can't have another princess on the same cover or in the same sphere unless she's looking in an opposite direction. Why? Disney believes that you can only have one princess per environment. And so I was looking at People magazine in the doctor's office a few weeks ago, and I opened it up to a spread on Princess Kate and Meghan Markle. And sure enough, one was looking in one direction and one was looking in the other. So for really all of our lives, women are taught and they see that you can't have more than one woman succeed in the environment, because they will, you know, undo each other. There's only room for one woman at the table of power. That's scarcity theory. On and on and on. Lots and lots of reasons. But you know what? I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, let's solve it. Enough of the problem. Now I get it. But what are we going to do about it? So this is why every woman you know, including you, should be at Kripalu, because this is what I'm going to focus on from Friday, April 26th through Sunday, April 28th. We have a number of hours together, and here are the 5 reasons why every woman should be there. Women don't do this. That's number 1. Women do not put themselves first. We know from survey after survey that women will put their children, their communities, their families, their parents, their spouses, their partners. They will put other people first and will not put themselves first. So they fall to the bottom of the list of priorities. So this is a piece of why we see these diseases of despair at midlife, is because women have lost track of what's my purpose. You know, what you know, the children leave. If you're, you know, if you have children, you reach middle age, your hormones are changing, life is changing around you, a lot of relationships end at midlife. That's when a lot of divorces occur. And so we don't always see women putting themselves first. And then there is this midlife, we call this the midlife review. That's interesting research I put in Creating Your Best Life, where women ask themselves, is this all there is? You know, is this, I'm getting a message here. Is this all there is? Is this what it, you know, what we've, you know, worked so hard for? And I think that if we're not accustomed to putting ourselves first, we absolutely have to take a weekend where we hit full stop, pause button, plant a flag, and we say, I'm going to focus on what I'm here for. What do I wake up for? What is my ikigai? That's a Japanese word. What is my ikigai? What do I wake up for? Because if you don't feel this magnetic pull to the future, if you don't have something getting up that is an inner, you know, fire for you. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm meant to do. This is the value I bring to my family, to my community. This is what I want to leave behind as part of my legacy. Then you're really just reacting to life. You're not being proactive. And every woman, every person, but I'm going to focus on women in this half hour, every woman needs to wake up and know what is it that she does that's unique and positive for the world, that is her special gift. And that's a piece of why we'll be looking at the VIA character strengths, and I love to read it for other people. And so everyone will get a mini reading on VIA character strengths, and we'll talk about how to use those in very specific ways, the overuse, the underuse, to help you accomplish your goals. So women don't do this. That's reason number 1. Second one, I've already alluded to it, is there is a science to goal setting. It is not SMART goals. It is certainly not the law of attraction. Goal setting theory, Locke and Latham, is brilliant, and it really separates goals into learning goals and performance goals. And they're very different metrics that you use to gauge success. You have different deadlines. One of the things that I'm seeing as this Boeing 737 MAX tragedy is playing out in the news is it's just like the Ford Pinto from the 70s, a rush to get something out on the market to beat a competitor and getting it out at all costs. And taking shortcuts, I call that faux grit, taking shortcuts just to make more money, just to get a bigger bottom line. And in the process, people get hurt. And so I see that companies still don't understand this. And this was at the basis of the Wells Fargo, the VW emission scandal. I could go on and on and on, but I see this playing out in the news every day now. And it matters on a smaller level. In your personal life, you must know the difference between learning goals and performance goals, and then their blended goals. So I will have specially designed worksheets for the first time. I've just created them very recently. I'll have those for the weekend, and I'll be explaining it to people so that they never make this mistake again. It couldn't be more important. So there is a science, not just to setting goals, but to understanding things like priming and prompting, which is some of Gary Latham's most recent work. And I could go on and on and on, but there's so many different secrets. As I wrote Creating Your Best Life, which came out in early 2009, I found all this research stuck in academia that the world didn't have access to yet. So I'll be bringing that and more to the table, because this is a fast-moving field that I'm in. There's always something new being discovered about priming, about prompts, about motivation, about self-regulation, about procrastination. There's so many things. So I think if you're going to work on yourself and work on goals, you really need to come from an evidence-based perspective. And I'm just in love with research. I read it all the time. So I'll be sharing the most recent research that I think is most helpful, because when I look at research, I always ask myself, so what? What do I do with this research? Research is interesting. Hardly anybody reads it, but I'm always asking myself, what can I do with this? How can I help other people, my clients, the world, my students, companies? How can I help them do something with this research? So number 3, what is another reason to come to Kripalu and spend the weekend with me and other fabulous women, is because simply coming is what we call a positive intervention. So in positive psychology, we know that there's several well-validated, proven interventions that up your well-being. And this matters because we know that happiness is not simply this hardwired thing you are born with at birth. Only half of your ability to flourish in life is hardwired at birth. The other half is what you choose to think about and do every single day. And those micro moments of flourishing, of being your best self, of being awed, of being grateful, of being content, of being proud, all those moments that define flourishing, they add up to create this person with zest, with optimism, with energy, with the ability to, create bonds with other people. What we know is that when you have positive interventions piling up in your life, you create the conditions for success. And so that was something else that really turned my life around when I went back to school in 2005 at the University of Pennsylvania in this first ever Masters of Applied Positive Psychology degree program, because I was just awestruck by the fact that my entire life I believed, as I think most people believe, that you become happy after you succeed at your goals, when in fact what the research shows incredibly conclusively is that all success in life is preceded by being happy first. So to talk about goal setting, it would be unprofessional for me to not talk about how do you flourish. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I have some new handouts about that. But simply coming, simply putting yourself first, simply focusing on where do I want to be? Who is my best possible future self? That's a positive intervention. And there's very recent research showing that part of the reasons why people put off becoming their ideal self and they stay stuck in their should self or their ought self is because they're not familiar with their best future self. They don't know who that person is. Well, we're going to bring her closer into reality during that weekend. So best possible future self is a great exercise. I could go on and on about that. But simply coming, simply being around people who want more and who want to share that and who want to be part of your support team is a positive intervention. So that leads me to the 4th thing, meeting other women. So this is one of the cardinal sins that I see women, doing or violating every single day. And that is, there's this assumption that other women, particularly those who might be in your life, your mother, your mother-in-law, your cousin, your sister-in-law, your sister, your daughter even. I mean, there's this assumption that these people who should be happy for you when you succeed will be happy for you, when in fact one of the things we know is that some of the kneecapping that goes on, some of the passive destructive comments, or all kinds of destructive ways that people undermine other people's happiness and and support for accomplishing their goals, it occurs from people who are closest to you. Right on my wall, I have taped a study that came out of Canada showing, and it was 1,500 professional women, showing that when these women succeeded at work, the two main people who undermined them and silenced them and shamed them and didn't support them were their friends. And so it's really important that you understand that not all women are created equal. We're not this monolithic block. And Shelley Gable's research from the University, UCLA, has shown us very, very conclusively that there's one Rorschach test, one sure way to tell if somebody is in your corner, that she or he wants you to succeed. But I want to focus on women and women's relationships with other women. There's one surefire way to tell, and that is active constructive responding. And so you can play with this idea. If you can't join me at Kripalu, play with this. And that is when you share your good news or a closely held dream with another woman, what is her response? Is she curious? Is she enthusiastic? Does she say, tell me more? Does she want to share it with her friends about your success? What are her reactions? And then what are your reactions when other people do that? I think given the Disney rule and some of the priming many women feel throughout their lives, that there can only be one princess in an environment and there's only one woman in the room who can succeed. Therefore, we must turn around and destroy or not help the women coming behind us. Whatever those reasons are, we find that this active constructive responding really unveils who's in your corner and who isn't. So it's really important to know that when women come together at Kripalu, this is the premise of their being there, is they want more and they want to help other women succeed too. About a year and a half ago, I started an initiative called #Share2to2, because what I realized is that not enough women uplift and support each other's individual goals. I found one example only in history, and that is Shalane Flanagan's training group. She won the New York City Marathon 2 years ago. First American woman in 40 years to win, but what was so unique about her win at the New York City Marathon is that she had invited all of her competitors to come train with her in Oregon. And what happened as a result is she really mothered them back into wanting to compete if they had a bad race or they got injured, but these were her competitors. And so she became the mother hen. She was the glue. She was the active constructive responder. She was a positive energizer, to use Kim Cameron's term from the University of Michigan's business school. And when we are in environments where we have positive energizers and people who are active constructive responders, we maximize our chances of succeeding. But we must learn how to spot those people, and we must learn how to be that person ourselves. So everyone will leave with a guide to how to start a mastermind group. Every woman should be in a mastermind group where there's this clear distinction between who's an active constructive responder and who's not. And just bear in mind your bloodline, your people you've married into, their family. Those people are not by definition in your corner until they prove it to you. So that's the fourth reason. You will meet other women and possibly create lifelong friends. And the fifth thing is role modeling. So I have one daughter, an amazing daughter. God gave me the most amazing daughter, Samantha. And I just know that our daughters are watching us. They're watching us to see what are we doing to live our best lives while we have time. What kinds of risks are we taking? Are we avoiding the regrets of always putting off becoming our ideal self and making excuses for that? Because we know that when you do that, you end up with these very toxic regrets, and life is always in the rearview mirror. And so we need to role model this kind of proactive goal setting, putting ourselves first, making ourselves a priority for the next generation of women. As I read through the World Economic Bureau findings and found that women aren't just stalled, they're going backwards, and I piled up all this research on women in STEM, the dropout rates in the legal field, on and on and on, I realized that we have to make a greater push for our daughters and the women coming behind us to have a firmer foundation upon which to plant their flags and become their best selves. It really, really matters. And when I was interviewing people for Getting Grit, and I found people who had the right kind of grit, what I call authentic grit, one of the things I found was that when I asked them, who taught you how to do these hard goals? Who taught you how to take these big risks, you know, who taught you how to have this kind of resilient mindset, something else we'll be talking about at Kripalu. More often than not, I heard about grandmothers who had really taken on the mores and cultural, you know, challenges of their times, and they fought harder than any man has ever had to fight in order to get their piece of the pie. And because of what they did, and because of the silent watching that was going on by the next few generations, these women became stories that were told and retold. They became legacies. And I think we all owe it to the women coming behind us to do that, to become role models about whom people tell stories going into the future. And I think my recovery from bulimia is a very open secret. So I've been out for over 30 years as somebody who overcame bulimia and lived to tell the story. And not only that, am flourishing more than I probably ever have, even though I'm well past midlife. I've stayed in recovery. But I was told something really, really important. And that was, you can't keep what you don't give away. And so I have sought every day since February of 1984, when I got into my first self-help meeting, where a woman just stood up and said, my name is Betsy and I'm recovering from bulimia one day at a time. She gave me hope. And because she gave me hope, I got my life back. And I had the absolute certainty that life, that night, like an electric bolt shot through me, and I thought, if she can do it, I can do it. And so because of her role modeling, I made it. And I was told that it wasn't enough for me to make it. I had to turn around and pull other people with me, because I was told in no uncertain terms, you can't keep what you don't give away. And so I think we really owe it to the next generation of women coming behind us to see, touch, feel, hear about the stories of women who have seized life with gusto, whether you're at midlife, beyond midlife, before midlife. What are you doing to create your best self? Are you moving towards your ideal self? Or are you living your ought self? What are you doing? So I'm going to be imparting as much of the research that I've learned over many years, that I've written about, that I teach at Wharton and around the world. I'm bringing it to this weekend at Kripalu in this very concentrated period, and I implore all of you to please come join me there. We're just about out of time, and I did promise a free giveaway, and that is on Textful. I have created a new giveaway. So if you text the word GRIT, G-R-I-T, GRIT, to 345345, and then you'll be prompted to enter your email address, you will get one of my newest created handouts, and you'll get to see it. But it's incredibly useful. You'll enjoy it. It's evidence-based, and it's new, and the brain loves novelty. So with that, I'm going to close, but please join me, if you can, April 26th to the 28th at the Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health, Stockbridge, Massachusetts, in the foothills of the Berkshires. It's just gorgeous. It's glorious there that time of year. It's glorious every time of year. But you'll meet new people. You'll focus on yourself. You'll come away with new education about how to set, pursue, and achieve goals from a scientific perspective. You'll learn about positive interventions. You'll learn about flourishing. You'll learn about active constructive responding. There's so much you'll walk away with that your brain will be stuffed, and it may take time to sort it all out, but you will come away changed. That I can promise you, and you'll come away with new friends. So I hope you'll see me there. I've really enjoyed this time, even though I don't do these very often. And you know, if you can't make it, please share this information with somebody else who might be able to get there. Last year we had lawyers, we had people who worked in universities, we had independent contractors, we had entrepreneurs, we had this amazing set of women who all came to focus on themselves, and I was marked. Every one of them marked me with their stories and their longings, and I'll never forget them. And maybe some will be able to return this year, but I will never forget any of you who can come too. So please come join me. I really look forward to it. It's the highlight of my year, one of the highlights of my year, I should say. And I'm wearing a Power Woman, Power Woman sweatshirt from J. Crew, because I think it kind of says it all. And we're still in the month of the woman, so share this with women you care about. So with that, I'll close, and thank you so much for joining me today.